Have you ever wondered where all the good things at Hanukkah come from? Well, you may not know this, so I will tell you a secret. They come from Hanukkah fairies. You might not believe it, but it's true, so let me introduce them to you and tell you about one fairy in particular who once had a bit of trouble. The first fairy is Alan Kaplansky, Latke fairy. He's in charge of making sure every family has enough of those steaming hot, gorgeous little potato pancakes. He's always there in the background, putting a few extra on plates or bringing whole batches to those in need. And he's very serious about his work. One time, when Mrs. Knish ran out of onions for her latkes, she thought about just making them anyway. Without onions. But in a puff of smoke, a Hanukkah fairy appeared. "Ma'am," Alan Kaplansky said, handing Mrs. Knish's card. "Alan Kaplansky, latke fairy. I understand you've run out of onions for your latkes. Is this so?" "Goodness, yes," she answered, a bit shocked. "I see," Alan went on. "You weren't thinking of making them without onions, were you?" "No, of course not," Mrs. Knish blushed. "Good," he said, and with a flick of his wrist, a bag of onions appeared on Mrs. Knish's table. "Oh, thank you," she cheered. No need to thank me, ma'am. Just doing my job." The next fairy is Rachel Cohen-Feynman Cohen, dreidel fairy. It's her job to make sure that everyone has a dreidel to play with. And she's very serious about her work. One time, the Azuelas kids were playing dreidel when young Benjamin accidentally lost it down the vent in the floor. Poof! Before them stood Rachel Cohen-Feynman Cohen, dreidel fairy. "The dreidel fairy," the children cheered. "Can you help us get the dreidel out?" "Take this," boomed Rachel, and she handed Benjamin a brand new dreidel that all the kids could use. Although it probably didn't help that the new dreidel was as big as a couch. Thank you, but this dreidel is bigger than me. I can hardly..." "No need to thank me. Just doing my job, son." And then she was gone. And then there's Simon Simmis, extra grandparents fairy. Because sometimes their grandparents can't always make it. Maybe they live far away, or they're off on a trip, or something like that. But that's okay, because Simon Simmis, extra grandparents fairy, will be there to help. And he's very serious about his work. One time, Simon appeared at the home of the Kogel family, just before the start of the second night of Hanukkah. "I understand that your grandparents couldn't make it tonight," he said to young Elliot Kugel. Actually, they're right over there." "Not to worry. These are the Kleins. They're from Pittsburgh," Simon said. "Hello," said the Kleins, waving frantically. Hi," said Elliot Kugel, "but actually, my grandparents are just in..." "No need to thank me. Just doing my job." And then Simon was gone, and the Kleins wandered into the kitchen to see if they could help. Almost last is Tzipora Menorah, candle fairy. It's Hanukkah, after all. You gotta light the candles. One time, the Franken family was all set to light the candles for Hanukkah. Suddenly they realized their matches had gotten wet. They couldn't light them. But just then, Tzipora Menorah, candle fairy, magically appeared. "I understand that you need help lighting your candles. Is this so?" she thundered. "Yes," said Mrs. Franken, looking concerned. But is that a flamethrower?" "Stand back, ma'am," she said. Whoosh! And she blasted those candles with her magical flamethrower. "No need to thank me, folks. Just doing my job." And then she was gone. Finally, there's Izzy Moskowitz, Gelt Fairy. It's his job to make sure all the kids have chocolate Gelt coins to enjoy. And he takes his job very seriously. Most of the time. But one time, Izzy showed up at the Tinkelmans' Hanukkah party because there were so many more kids there than they had been expecting. They didn't have enough Gelt. So there was Izzy, throwing armfuls of it everywhere. But just as he was getting ready to leave, little Karen Tinkelman shuffled up to him and asked for his help. "Please, Mr. Fairy, I can't unwrap my coin. Can you help me?" "No problem, little one," said Izzy. But as he peeled off the foil, the scent of chocolate filled his nose. He blinked once, twice, 3 times. It just smelled so wonderful. He really hadn't eaten all day. So he bit Karen Tinkelman's chocolate coin. She was shocked. As he twitched, he quivered. It was so deliriously good, then Izzy raced around the room, grabbing chocolate out of everyone's hands. It was really quite rude. After he'd eaten it all, he collapsed in the middle of the room. His tummy was enormous and there were bits of foil all over the floor. Everyone at the party just stood and stared. Everyone except Karen Tinkleman. She shuffled over to Izzy, reached into his suit pocket, and pulled out his cell phone. Karen Tinkleman pressed 2 buttons on the phone and whispered into it, "We need an extraction." The other 4 fairies appeared in a flash. They scooped up Izzy on a stretcher. "Sorry you had to witness this, folks," announced the dreidel fairy. And then she said to Karen Tinkleman, "Thanks for letting us know." "No need to thank me," Karen said while looking over the top of her sunglasses. "Just doing my job." And that's the story of the Hanukkah fairies. And now you know. So if you need help next Hanukkah, you know who to call. But if you do, maybe hang on to your chocolate guilt a little tighter. And that's the end of the story.